Certainly good news for those of us in South Australia. The state had been tracking well in terms of its testing and its low case numbers, but in recent weeks it had looked like we were falling behind a little bit in terms of reopening some of those hospitality businesses. But we have heard from the Premier just a short time ago on June 5 pubs will reopen as we move to stage 2 and lifting restrictions. That also means that gyms, cinemas, beauticians will also reopen as well. Now that date has been moved 3 days ahead of what was planned, from June 8 to June 5, so that those hospitality business owners can really capitalise on the long weekend. Of course, the government looking to improve their financial situations as much as possible, and that's going to be even more improved with regional travel now allowed in South Australia. But as you mentioned, there is another step, what the government is calling a baby step before then. From this Friday, restaurants and cafes in South Australia will be able to offer indoor dining. That's dining for up to 20 people, 10 indoors and 10 outdoors, and they will be able to serve alcohol. So we will be able to have a glass of wine as we head out for dinner this weekend in South Australia. Now, the Chief Public Health Officer said we have been rewarded here for our good behaviour, for following these restrictions that have been in place and getting tested as we have been prompted to. She also said she didn't rule out moving other restrictions forward in future.
We have listened to what South Australians have said, we've listened to what the regions have said, and we've listened also to the various retail members of retail and restaurants and cafes and such like. And it did make sense that there is a long weekend to take the opportunity to open 3 days earlier.
Now, the Premier has been adamant he isn't looking to see what other states are doing. We know other states have already reopened or re-allowed drinking in pubs. He did take a small swipe at New South Wales, saying that his decisions would be based on what is best for the state in terms of health and the economy, not what was being done for a headline.
We've got to not just have a headline and somebody's drinking a beer in a pub in Circular Quay. What we've got to have is getting our industry sectors stood up as quickly as we possibly can, but in a way that is not going to compromise health, and also in a way that's going to be sustainable financially.
Now, we don't have a date yet on when the state will move to stage 3 in lifting restrictions. That's when bigger gatherings will be allowed. Also, the state border would reopen. The Premier has said the border won't reopen until other states lower their case numbers. But just recapping, Tom, from this Friday, South Australians can enjoy alcohol, indoor dining, and those stage 2 restrictions will lift from June 5.